Welcome to Practical 5 on how to use Quantum GIS. In this practical, we're going to be loading in census data that we've downloaded from the UK data service in separated value format, and also map boundary data that we've also downloaded from the UK data service. And then we're going to learn how we can join the two data sets together, make the data usable, and then map the data. So the first thing we're going to do is to add the data to the software by clicking on the Add Vector Layer button. Navigate to where you've stored the data, where you've downloaded it from the UK data service. And the first sort of data we're going to add is the map data, the lower super output area map data. So select it, open it, and it should add to the screen. And then we're going to add the comma separated value census data. So click on the Add Vector Layer button, click on Browse. And what we've got to do is we've got to change this box here from Esri shapefiles to comma separated value or CSV files. So just change it. Navigate to where you've saved the data and open it. And click Open. And the data should be added to the table of contents as a table. If you want to add more map layer data, click on the Add Vector Layer button, click on Browse. You've got to remember to change the comma separated value filter to the Esri shapefile filter. Okay? Now we've added the data to Quantum GIS, we need to join the two data sets together. So first of all, open up the tables. So open up the Census 2001 Welsh language table first. It should be the same as it was in Excel. And then open up the Wales LSOA polygon table. And you want to show them both on the screen at the same time. Okay. And as you can see, they're fairly simple tables. There's not much data in them. The polygon table only has 3 columns which contain the low super output area identifiers, different codes used to identify each polygon. And the same coding system also appears in the Welsh language census data. And what we need to do is to identify a column in the polygon table and a column in the census data table, which is the same. If you look, there's 2 columns. There's the code column here, which contains the census code for each low super output area, and that's the same as the geocode column in the census data table. We also have the name column in the polygon table, which is the same as the geo label column in the census data table. So we just need to choose one of the pairs that we're going to use to join the tables together, and in this case we're going to choose the code geocode columns. So just close down the 2 tables, and we're going to join the census data table to the polygon table and not the other way round. Okay, so it's important the way you join the tables together. We're going to join the census data to the map data. So we select the map data, so open up, right click on the map data and open up properties. And then across the top, choose joins in the tab and click on the plus sign. Okay, the join layer is the census data table layer. The join field, if you remember, we decided on geocode. And the target field, this is the column in the map layer table that we're going to join it to, was code. Click OK. Click OK again. And that should join the 2 tables together. If you open up the map layer attribute table, you should see now that the census data has been added to the map data. So all the data is now in one table.
Now we've joined the 2 tables of data together, we need to make it permanent, because at the moment the join is only temporary. And the easiest way to do this is to save the map layer as a new file. So right click on the map layer, select Save As, make sure the format is Esri shapefile, because we want to store it as a shape file, as a map file, and give it a name. So navigate to your workshop folder and call it Welsh Speak 2011 Cardiff LSOA, or something like that. Click Save, and then click on Add Saved File to Map and click OK. And then click OK there. If you didn't tick on the Add Save File to Map, you'll have to then add the mapping manually using the Add Vector Layer button. Now we've done that, we've basically saved it as a new file, and this table, this join, is now a permanent join. The next thing we need to do is we need to convert the numbers in the table from text to decimal floating point numbers. Because one feature of Quantum GIS is that when you load data in as comma separated value format, CSV value format, like we did with the census data, it treats all the data in the table as text. Which means even though these look like numbers, they're actually going to be treated as text, so you can't do things like calculate percentages or add them together or anything. So we need to convert them. The easiest way to do that is to use a plugin called MMQGIS. So go to the plugins folder, go to manage plugins, and just see whether it's been installed or not. MMQGIS. As you can see, it's not been installed, so we need to install it. So go back to plugins and fetch Python plugins. Type MMQGIS and there it is. Select it, click on install plugin. Hooray. Close. Go back to manage plugins and search for it, and there it is. And just make sure that the text box is ticked, so it's displayed in the software. Click OK, and you then go to plugins, and it should be at the bottom of the pull down menu. Select modify, and then select text to float. Float is the technical term for numbers, or more precisely decimal numbers. So select text to float, select the layer we want to convert, which is the Welsh Speak 2001 Cardiff LSOA layer. So keep track of the layers you're using, and select the census data, the numbers. So highlight them, and then we're going to save them as another file. So navigate to your workshop folder, and then give it another new name. So you have to keep track of all these, and call it Welsh Speak 2011 Cardiff LSOA numbers. Click Save, click OK, and another layer should be added to the table of contents. If you open up the attribute table here, it should look the same, except you'll notice that the numbers in the columns in this table are to the right. They're right justified, whereas the text is left justified, and that's how you know the difference between whether data has been stored as text or as numbers. Text is always stored left justified, so it's to the left of the column, and numbers are always stored right justified, so they're right of the column.
We now have several layers in our table of contents, and we actually only need one. We actually only need the Welsh Speak 2011 Cardiff LSOA numbers layer. So to make things easier, I'm just going to remove the layers we don't need. So select the layer you don't need, say the census data one, right click and click on remove. This just removes it from the table of contents. It doesn't delete it from your hard drive. and do the same for the other two we don't need. This just makes it easier so you can keep track of what you're doing. So once you've done that, what we need to do now, before we can map the data, is to create percentages, because at the moment all we've got is counts, and that doesn't really tell us anything, because what we really need to know is what the percentage of people are who can't speak Welsh or who can speak Welsh, not just the numbers. And so we create percentages by adding new data to the table. So click on the toggle editing mode, and this switches on to editing mode, so we can add data and delete data or edit data. If you look at the map, when it's in editing mode, all the boundaries are highlighted in red. That's how you know it's in editing mode, okay? Once you've done that, click on the Open Field Calculator button. This allows us to calculate new columns of data. So we're going to create a new field. Field is the technical term for column. So make sure the Create New Field button is checked. The output field name is PC No Welsh. In other words, percentage of people who can't speak Welsh. Remember, we can only use 10 characters maximum. The output field type is going to be a decimal number. And the precision, the number of decimal places we want to store it at, is 1. So we're going to create a new column that's going to store decimal numbers to 1 decimal place, called PC No Welsh. If you then double click on the Fields and Values label, this brings up a list of all the columns in our table, and we want to create a new column based on percentage. So the percentage is the total number of people who can't speak Welsh divided by all the people multiplied by 100. So we're going to create that expression. So double click on No Welsh, i.e. the total number of people who can't speak Welsh in each low super upper area, divided by all the people in a low super upper area, multiplied by 100. You just type it in off the keyboard. And so we've got this expression here. And this expression will calculate the percentage of people who don't speak Welsh. Click OK. And that column should appear at the end of your table. And we want to create another column, which is the people who have got some Welsh language skills. So again, click on the field calculator, create a new column, call it something like PC Welsh. Make sure it's a real number, a decimal number. Click on 1 decimal place, and again the expression is speak Welsh divided by all the people in the low super upper area multiplied by 100 to make it into a percentage. So it's the number of people who can speak Welsh divided by all the people in that area multiplied by 100. Click OK. And that should appear at the end there. We can save the data by clicking on the Save Edits. If we made a mistake and we wanted to delete the column, we can click on Delete Column here, and we choose the one we want to delete, and we click OK. Once we've created the data we want, just click off the toggle editing mode, so it's no longer in editing. It might ask you if you want to save the data at this point, if you already haven't done so, and then close it down. You can see the red boundaries have vanished. So we've now created 2 new variables, and if you go back into the table, you should see they're there. Now we've created the percentage data, we probably want to map it. So open up the Properties dialog box, select Style, And then we want to map it as a graduated choropleth map. Okay, our column's going to be one of the percentage columns. I'm going to map percentage Welsh speaking. Equal intervals fine. Click OK. And as you can see, the darker the colour, the higher the percentage of Welsh speakers. And there's quite a clear pattern that Welsh speakers tend to live in the west of the city, in the more affluent suburbs, because in Cardiff there's a strong relationship between people's income and whether they speak Welsh or not. See if you can understand why. We might also want to export the data we've created in the table and put it into another package like Excel or SPSS. This is really easy to do. We just select the map which contains the table of data we want to export. We right click on it and we select Save As. And instead of having a shapefile format, we just select comma separated value format. We give it a name. So this could just be new census data. Click Save and click OK. And that should create a new text file which we can then read into SPSS or Excel. We can also export just selected number of rows rather than the whole table. So for instance, we might just want to select these rows here. So once you've selected the rows you want to export, if you go back to the table of contents, right click, and this time we click on Save Selection As. And it's identical. You just select comma separated value format, give it another name, new census data selected. Oops. Click Save, click OK, and that will just then export those selected rows. And we can open them up by in Excel just by clicking on them. So this is the full data set, the full table. As you can see, it's got the percentages we've created in the Quantum GIS. Or if we wanted to, we could just open up the selected records. And as you can see, there's only 15 rows selected. And that's the end of the practical.